story we've been following all week now. Today, a TPS school board member called a press conference after a heated school board meeting Wednesday night. 2 News Oklahoma's Jeanette Quesada explains why Jerry Griffin is speaking out and what the TPS community wants to change. Jeanette?
Sharon, today's press conference is the latest move by TPS leaders to solve a contentious situation. It started Wednesday night. The Board of Education held a special meeting to hear from people after details of a closed-door conversation began spreading online. Jerry Griffin says it's a misunderstanding. Now, some teachers, parents, and guardians and TPS community members say the problem is deeper than one comment. Dr. Jerry Griffin Tuesday calling a press conference to, quote, clear the air and address what he calls inappropriate handling of a sensitive situation involving another board member.
Again, we have a board rule that says you handle matters in private, so I thought she would come to me and say something afterwards. Instead, she posts on Facebook calling me and everybody, not just me, everybody in my district, a racist and every other name you can think of.
The Facebook post in question, authored by fellow TPS board member Judith Barba Perez, she ascribes a conversation she calls, quote, offensive and, quote, racist. We weren't able to ask Barba Perez directly about the conversation, but Griffin says he told Perez a reporter wanted to talk to her and asked her if it was okay for him to put them in contact. He says she immediately started getting upset, asking him what the subject matter was. He said he thought it might have to do with her citizenship. That conversation also the center of more than 2 hours special Board of Education meeting Wednesday.
It makes me so angry and disappointed that in 2022 we're still having to explain why representation matters and why inclusivity is so important.
That's where dozens of TPS families, educators, and community members took the microphone to voice diversity, inclusion, and equity concerns. More than 20 speakers angry with Griffin specifically.
I'm here today because my students are not at voting age. If they were, Jerry Griffin would not be sitting behind that desk.
Many others didn't mention Griffin at all, instead pointing to a larger issue.
Tulsa is thriving. Tulsa is different. And we thrive because of our diversity and our difference. And I don't see that on the board. I don't see that in the board decision.
Today, Griffin taking the microphone himself, calling for collaboration.
Let's work with each other. Let's get positive conversation going and do things for all the community.
Many of the speakers from Wednesday night meeting came with their ideas for change, including an organized list of demands for the board, and among them quarterly meetings between Latinx families, school board members, and the superintendent, hiring and investing in more Latinx and bilingual and bicultural employees, the implementation of diversity and inclusion training for board members and district-level leaders, requiring immigrant support training for board members, as well as high-quality translation services at every community event hosted by TPS. Now, tonight, we don't know the status of these demands, and today, Griffin said he agrees with many of them. Live in studio, Jeanette Quesada, 2 News Oklahoma.